We have a party that I think needs to design and develop a compelling economic vision for the future, where people feel included, to reconcile the fact that if we don't democratize our economy, we're not going to save democracy. And I don't think it's healthy.
Gavin Newsom says this to you. Thanks, Donald Trump. Burbank Airport has 0 air traffic controllers from 4:15 to 10 p.m. today because of your government shutdown. I know you guys like to spar. Do you have an answer for it?
This guy's unbelievable. The bottom line is every Republican has voted to keep the government open.
Brace yourself, because what you're about to hear is wild. We're talking about a shocking and totally unexpected face-off between Duffy and Governor Gavin Newsom. Yes, that Gavin Newsom. Somehow, Duffy didn't just rattle the governor a little. He completely flattened his confidence, messed up the perfect air vibe, and maybe even knocked loose those familiar talking points everyone's heard a million times. What Duffy dropped into the conversation left Newsom staring off into space like his brain hit the pause button mid-thought. You're about to watch a political roast, so intense it feels like it should come with warning signs and protective gear. So buckle up, because we're jumping straight into this beautifully messy chaos.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about our democracy. It's about the future of this republic. I think it's about, what the founding fathers lived and died for, this notion of the rule of law, not the rule of Don, this notion of popular sovereignty, fundamentally.
We pulled $40 million from the state of California because they were refusing to comply with our English proficiency language requirements. We're getting information from state troopers in the state of California that Gavin Newsom has specifically told them, don't comply with this requirement from the Department of Transportation.
Duffy burst into the political scene the same way a squirrel crashes a picnic. Unexpected, impossible to stop, and clearly not interested in following anyone's rules. While most public figures stick to safe scripts and camera-ready smiles, Duffy showed up powered by zero patience for nonsense, and a level of confidence usually seen in people who've never lost an argument online and have no plans to start now.
Senate, it was a bipartisan vote. It was Democrats that voted to shut down the government, and Gavin Newsom wants to blame Donald Trump, who had a clean CR. They're fighting over potential money going into Obamacare and healthcare subsidies that happen at the end of this year, right? The reason they're shutting it down today is because illegals aren't getting health benefits today because of what Donald Trump did in the big, beautiful bill. So again, they're saying we care about what's going to happen at the end of the year, but they're shutting it down right now because they want illegals.
If you're enjoying this already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because it helps more than you might think. It all started with one simple comment from Duffy, the kind that cuts sharper than a knife in a fancy cooking show demo. In that moment, the governor's usual calm authority flickered like a streetlight about to go dark. Duffy didn't shout or act dramatic. Instead, he delivered a clean, clever hit that landed before anyone realized something had even been thrown. Out of nowhere, Newsom became the unwilling star of a highlight reel he never agreed to be part of. Duffy moved with the relaxed chaos of a cat knocking things off a counter just because it can. He pointed out contradictions with an easy shrug that quietly said these problems were obvious to anyone paying attention.
You get a license, Lawrence, in California. That doesn't mean you stay with your CDL in California. You can drive anywhere in the country.
Sean, Dad's a truck driver. He's been telling me about this for years, but shouldn't the punishment be more severe? If you're putting someone on the road and you know they didn't pass that test,
Can't read that.
Someone dies, you're a former prosecutor. They should be held criminally liable for that.
But am I going to prosecute Gavin Newsom for not following the law?
Of course, people die.
Meanwhile, the governor's invisible eyebrows practically tried to do a backflip, and there wasn't any real debate happening at all. What we saw instead was a joyful breakdown, powered by the energy of someone who had waited their whole life to say, "Hey, the emperor's outfit isn't that great." Every point Duffy made landed with careful accuracy that would make a surgeon proud. No words were wasted. The governor's policies, public moments, and glossy, polished image were dragged under a spotlight so bright it could fry an egg. Picture Gavin Newsom, usually standing like he's posing for an official photo, even when ordering coffee, suddenly realizing his political world had turned into a comedy stage. It wasn't mean or cruel. It was just sharp, honest, and painfully accurate. The kind of truth that strips off the shine and leaves nothing hidden.
Secretary, no, we have breaking those numbers down. In California, Gavin Newsom to revoke 17,000 unlawfully issued licenses. We closed down half of the fake schools that give out these fake licenses. All critically important. Governor Walz, Minnesota, gave 33% of these licenses unlawfully. People that should never have a driver's license driving vehicles on the roads.
And trust me, you are not ready for what came next. Duffy broke things down like a chef reviewing a famous restaurant that serves fancy plates with barely any food. The style might impress some people, but Duffy wasn't fooled by looks alone. His commentary sliced straight through big gestures, fancy speeches, and dramatic pauses, leaving only the basics behind. And without the lights and stage help, those basics weren't very impressive. The governor's smooth, practiced confidence started shaking almost right away under the comedic spotlight. The magic was in how Duffy delivered it. He didn't attack like someone holding a grudge. Instead, it felt playful, like gently poking a balloon just to see when it would squeak. And squeak it did. That perfectly polished image, made for posters and glossy photos, began to look like a glitchy hologram during an update. Duffy pointed out the obvious stuff, the ignored details, and the questions that should have been asked months ago, all without raising his voice or breaking a sweat.
Years into the future because of the shutdown. Yes. We haven't talked. I've seen some tweets he sent out, but no, we haven't had a conversation. Open to talk to him. Again, we just want compliance. We want him to be concerned about the safety.
As the breakdown kept going, viewers couldn't look away. This wasn't just another political moment. It felt like a live lesson in comedic destruction. Duffy moved smoothly from one point to the next, like everything was planned. One moment he highlighted a mismatch. The next he called out a decision that aged faster than milk left in the sun. Just when it felt like the roast had peaked, Duffy uncovered another angle, another crack, another flaw in the shiny political surface. Newsom, usually surrounded by applause and cameras, suddenly found himself in the middle of a roast he never signed up for. Each moment flowed perfectly into the next, with a rhythm you usually only see in musicians who've practiced forever. Duffy unpacked a suitcase full of political promises that didn't quite match reality. And honestly, the suitcase didn't even need to be that big. Newsom's own public moments provided more than enough material.
Very simple. Get into compliance now, or we'll pull funding and we'll force you into compliance. Nowhere in the country have we found a more egregious licensing situation than in the state of California. That's why the second action we're announcing today is an additional enforcement action against California. So for 2 weeks, FMCSA investigators were on site in California actually looking at their records.
As the commentary continued, the audience found themselves laughing, nodding, and sometimes pausing just to take it all in. This wasn't cruel, it was honest. And that kind of honesty hits harder than insults ever could. Newsom's polished, spotlight-ready image didn't survive under Duffy's comedic UV light. Some lines landed so perfectly that people had to rewind just to make sure they heard them right. Duffy would point out a contradiction, so obvious it practically sparkled, then smoothly move into another comparison that made the governor's public image wobble like an inflatable mascot in strong wind. Every assumption was challenged, every fence climbed, and every questionable choice highlighted with sharp wit.
Basically switched the penalty to be a slap on the wrist. No real penalty if you can't speak the language. We went back to the pre-Obama change and would take vehicles out of service, which is very complicated for a company if you're taking their vehicles out of service. We went back to the old rule. One of the problems we have is California was the only state that, in essence, have told their law enforcement officers not to enforce English proficiency rules.
The finale settled in like the last puzzle piece clicking perfectly into place. Duffy wrapped things up calmly, without needing applause, sound effects, or dramatic music. Gavin Newsom, whether he admits it or not, had been completely and thoroughly taken apart, not with anger, but with smart, well-aimed humor. When the final comment landed, it was clear Duffy didn't just crack the shiny political surface. He rolled right over it. What was left behind was one of the sharpest, funniest breakdowns of a public figure anyone could ask for. As the moment lingered, the governor's once rock-solid image started to look less like marble and more like a statue made of pudding. Duffy pointed out flaws with the excitement of someone unlocking secret levels in a video game, each reveal more satisfying than the last.
So let's just put that another way. Over 25% of these licenses, they were issued illegally. So let me give you some examples. So on this slide, this is driver PND from Brazil. So California gave him a CDL with endorsements to drive a passenger bus and a school bus that was valid for months after his legal presence in the U.S. had expired.
There was no hesitation and no awkward pause, just a steady unraveling of an image built on smooth speeches and magazine-ready poses that finally met resistance. Under the comedic microscope, every gesture and planned appearance turned into material too good to ignore. Duffy's breakdown had a musical rhythm, making each section feel like a new chapter in a funny story unfolding live. One moment showed a perfectly polished public appearance, and the next revealed how the shine didn't always match what was underneath. The commentary danced easily between humor and disbelief, delivered by someone who truly knew what they were doing. While others shout to make points, Duffy used calm precision, cutting clean and sharp. One standout moment came when he described the governor's dramatic style, like someone reviewing a fashion show built on contradictions. Every pose, gesture, and rehearsed expression became runway material begging for commentary. Without any hostility, Duffy peeled back the shine and revealed something even more entertaining beneath: the awkward comedy of political performance slipping off script.
So they have stopped, but then we said you have to go back and review for the ones you've illegally issued. And a lot of states have been willing to comply. Again, California has been unwilling. So there's additional money we can pull from them. At one point, we can pull their authority to even issue commercial driver's licenses. Now, I don't want to fight with Gavin Newsom. I just want them to comply. You want people to be safe, right? And if you see these crashes, it is truly problematic.
The transitions kept flowing smoothly, giving the whole takedown a strong story feel that was impossible to miss. Duffy moved through each topic like a skilled storyteller, guiding viewers through a maze of funny discoveries without slowing down. Even small policy slips or messaging mistakes turned into comedic gold. Duffy didn't attack them aggressively. He floated over them with a smoothness rarely seen in political satire. It was like watching a gymnast pull off complicated flips while casually sipping tea. While Newsom's image was built to handle intense attention, Duffy unraveled it with observations so clear they didn't need exaggeration. The humor came from simplicity, a misplaced phrase here, an overconfident look there, each detail adding to a bigger picture. The governor's persona, usually treated as solid and unmovable, suddenly looked more like a cardboard cutout stuck in front of a powerful fan. The deeper Duffy went, the clearer it became this wasn't a normal critique. It was a full comedic makeover of political reality, done by showing results that aged faster than fruit on a sunny windowsill. Duffy didn't have to make anything up. Just lifting the curtain a little was enough to send waves of laughter through the crowd.
We're here to talk about, I think, a critical issue, important issue in regard to the safety of our roadways. Because we have a government system designed to keep American families on the road safe, but that system has been compromised. I'm talking about non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses that are issued across the country. So in plain English, this is a license to operate a massive 80,000-pound truck that's being issued to foreign drivers.
The roast grew even richer as Duffy talked about the governor's habit of delivering big statements with the confidence of an actor who already thinks they got the role. The camera-ready charm, the practice gestures, and the dramatic pauses meant to signal importance all fed straight into Duffy's comedy machine. Once it started rolling, it didn't slow down. At one point, the humor shifted smoothly from sharp critique to full spectacle as Duffy compared political promises to movie trailers. Exciting, polished, and impressive until the movie comes out and everyone realizes the trailer was the best part. The audience didn't need explanations because the picture was clear. Newsom's highlight moments became a playground filled with times when presentation tripped over reality. As the breakdown continued, it became obvious Duffy wasn't tearing down a person, but the performance itself. The ending came together naturally, pulling earlier contradictions, mismatches, and shiny but hollow moments into one final wave of comedic brilliance. Instead of ending with a loud bang, Duffy closed things out calmly, with the confidence of someone who knew the job was already finished. And the humor spoke louder than any dramatic ending ever could.